Hey guys, welcome in. It's Brad with College SportsCast, and we are here tonight to do week 4 of the Big Fuss Show.
Can I please have your attention?
There's all a commotion around here.
What are you talking about?
Let them yap at you.
It's actually very exciting.
All right.
Well, it looks like Brad has logged off again. So we'll wait till he comes back on the Big Fuss Show. Give Brad a chance to come back. Give it a minute. He should be back in just a second. We had technical difficulties last week, so just bear with us. He's back, Brad.
All right. I'm back, guys. This thing, when I try to play my videos, it wants to cut me off. It did it the other night, too. So, anyways,
We're back.
I'm back. We should be all right now. At least we were the other night. So, it's Brad with College SportsCast, and we're here to do our week 4 of the Big Fuss Show. And got John Hammonds on with me. What's up, Hammonds?
What's up, man?
So I think that it'll be me and John tonight, I believe. So we'll try to give you a little bit of fuss here, and we'll give you some news and some updates, and we will also do some of our segments, Pick Six, No Fly Zone, and try to have a little fun with you guys tonight. So, again, we are College SportsCast. We are presented by the Fanboys, and we are on Let's Talk Sports. We are featured on Sideline Sports, the Real Fresh channel. I'm a writer and on Stadium Rant, so you can check them out. They have a YouTube channel as well, and we are on WSBN TV Channel 30. How you find us on that? You can find us on your Roku, Apple, or Fire TV. And with that, all you got to do is download the BoxCast app. And once you download the BoxCast app, search for World Sports Broadcast Network. And once you find them, then you can find College SportsCast on Channel 30.
I was trying to talk to the dog.
What's that?
I was trying to talk to the dog.
Oh, I thought you were messing with me because I thought, is he talking and I can't hear him or what?
No, I was trying to talk to the dog.
Okay. You were messing with me. I was like, can he not hear me or what? All right. So to start out with, we're going to start out with some news and opening topics and stuff. So right before we come on, I was looking up some news, and it looks like that Brady Cook is questionable this week for Missouri. So I wanted to start with that. You know, Missouri had a big win last week over Kansas State, 61-yard field goal to win the game. And, 61 was a record, by the way. Anyway, so Brady Cook is questionable. He took a hit to the knee. Says in the first half, he finished the game, played great, had 356 yards, 2 touchdowns, and, led the Tigers to the victory over, Kansas State. But now they're saying he's questionable. So that's some news I figured we'd drop. I'm not sure if everybody knows it yet or not.
Yeah, I got it earlier today. So,
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That's pretty big news for Missouri in terms of their quarterback play.
Yeah. So Sam Horn, I think, would be the backup if Brady Cook can't go. And then Jake Garcia would be his backup. If significant news, they play Memphis at home this week. Is who they play on Saturday?
Yeah, I think they're a 5.5-point favorite, Missouri.
Yeah, they play Memphis this week.
It's not real big.
Yeah, but Iowa tight end had surgery on his right ankle and is likely to miss the rest of the season.
I just want to kind of open up with this. I know we don't watch the NFL, but last night I just kind of want to give some good luck, charm, and some positive vibes to Nick Chubb. His leg gave out last night, and he had that knee injury at Tennessee back in 2015. He's been really injury prone when it comes to knees, and it's just tough to see a kid like Nick Chubb go through something like that. So I just wanted to give my vibes out to the Browns and to the Georgia Bulldogs to say good luck with your surgery, Nick Chubb, and we hope to see you back on the field. It's just tough to see a person of his caliber that fights every time to get back on the field, and then he gets hurt again. It's tough.
I mean, I agree with you. There's guys that go through it 2 or 3, 4 times, and, eventually it will cost him his career. I mean, I'm sure it will, and hopefully this one doesn't, and he can get back. So, I'll second that. I mean, it's always tough to watch somebody get hurt. So, hopefully he'll get back and be able to play again. I'm sure it'll be next year. Now, I'm sure. After that injury. But Iowa tight end, Lachey, I'm not sure how he pronounces it, is had surgery on his right ankle today. He's probably going to be out for the year, Kurt France said. So, they scored 41 points over the weekend last weekend. I mean, it was against like Western Michigan or somebody like that, but they scored 41 points. That's a lot of points for Iowa.
Yeah, we're moving up. We're moving on up, like the song says.
That's a lot of points for Iowa. So that's a couple of news things that I'll get started with tonight. And then I wanted to bring up this. Through week 3, there are 39 undefeated remaining teams in college football. 39 so far through week 3. I'm just saying Kentucky's one of them.
Yeah, that's fight. Yeah, to drop that in there,
yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying. But anyways, 39 teams out of 133 are still undefeated. I don't know about you, but that kind of sounds low after 3 weeks of a non-conference schedule for most teams.
It does, don't it?
I think it kind of does myself. All right. Our next little drop of knowledge here, week 4 slate of games. I know you're probably excited about it. I'm excited about it. There is a bunch of good games to watch this week. There are 6 ranked versus ranked teams.
I'll just give you mine. I'll just give you about 3 or 4 of mine that I have that I'm interested in watching. You know, I'm excited about the FSU game at Clemson, and I'm not real happy about the fact that they got it at a noon kick. That's, to me, this game should have been at least prime time, and we'll get into that little deal at the end of the show about the noon kicks. I'm just not a fan of this noon kick. I think this game should be a prime time slot, at least 7:30, 9 o'clock, because a lot of eyes will be on this game. You know what I mean?
I mean, I agree with you on this game, but you can't have them all at the 7 o'clock. There are, counting this game, there are 7 really big games. You can't have them all playing at the same time.
I agree with you. And then the other game is Colorado at Oregon. That should be a really good game. It's the 3:30 kick on ABC. Then you got UCLA going to Utah. UCLA going to Utah. That should be a really big game. It's on Fox. Then you got the CBS game. You got Ole Miss going to Alabama, which, Alabama is starting Jalen Milroe this week. They moved him back into the starting lineup. Then you got the game that a lot of people's not really talking about. Pick your underdog, America. Oregon State goes to Washington State. Who you got in this game?
I'm gonna give you a little tidbit on this game, okay? Before this week, they have played 98 times, okay? Oregon State and Washington State. This is the first time ever that both teams have been ranked.
That's pretty insane to me.
Oregon State versus Washington State.
There's been some really good Washington State and Oregon State teams too.
This is the first time this will be 99 meetings. This is the first time that both teams have been ranked.
And then I'm going to go with the game day game. Ohio State going to Notre Dame. We'll find out a lot about Ohio State, and we'll find a lot about Notre Dame, which we've seen the last couple of weeks. Notre Dame has improved, especially under quarterback with Sam Hartman. But the biggest game to me, I know people's going to say, well, it's just a Big Ten game, but I think it's huge for both, is Penn State and Iowa.
That's the nightcap. That's the night game.
For me, this could be a game that Iowa puts themselves on the map. They go into Happy Valley and they pull off a win. Iowa could be in the running for a playoff.
But you can also say the same thing about Penn State.
You could say the same thing about them as well. I think, though, the loss might doom Penn State more because they still got to play, I think, is it Michigan and Ohio State? So Iowa, I think, can afford a loss a little bit easier. But Penn State's going to, if they lose this game, I don't think they can get back in that race.
That's because they're still in a division. They're still in a division with Ohio State and Michigan State.
Yeah, it will be tough.
And Iowa's not. Yeah.
So those are my 4 or 5.
Yeah, but I'm gonna ask you, who do you think makes the biggest statement this weekend out of all these great games? I mean, I'm not telling you to name who you think are going to win or whatever, but what team, what do you think is going to make when it's all said and done on Sunday when we're doing our weekend wrap-up show, or when everybody's tweeting or social media or whatever late Saturday night, Sunday morning, who's everybody going to be talking about?
I'm going to go Florida State.
Okay.
I know they struggled last week against Boston College. They didn't have the best game. There was a lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties. But I think you go into Clemson and you win, to me, that's making a statement. because
I
everybody
mean,
says,
there's a
well,
bunch of big games. That's the reason why I was asking. I mean, Ohio
Clemson's
State,
not really
Notre Dame.
Clemson's not really Clemson, but it's still Clemson. At the end of the day, it's still Clemson.
Yeah, it is.
And
Oh, yeah, it is, especially at home.
A win on the road in a hostile environment in Death Valley would say that, hey, FSU is here to stay, and FSU is here to ruin a party. And I think it's going to be – they win this game, there's a great opportunity for Florida State to be in the top 4 coming down the road when it's all said and done.
I think if they win this game, they have a good shot at least being in the top inside the top 6, and we'll see how it all plays out. They might have a chance. I mean, they have to keep winning, but I agree with you. They would definitely have a chance to make the college football
I think Notre
playoff.
Dame's another one. I think Sam Hartman's the real deal. I think he's –
So that's my pick. That's my pick. My biggest statement is going to be Notre Dame, to be honest with you.
I think you haven't really seen Ohio
that was my
State
dark
play to
horse.
their best ability.
That was my dark horse for this year was Notre Dame. Outside of, like the top 6 or 7 teams that everybody was talking about. I had 2, Notre Dame and Washington were my 2 dark horse teams that were outside of the top, 8 or so, that I thought really had a chance to make some noise this year. With this being in South Bend, at home, Notre Dame has a golden opportunity here with Sam Hartman at quarterback to make a massive statement, in my opinion.
And I'll be honest with you, Ohio State hasn't really played to their ability yet. They haven't really played.
They looked a little better last week, but it was Western Kentucky, so we'll see.
Let's kind of slow the brakes on it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know yet. I'm not saying anything terrible, but I mean, it was Western Kentucky, and they did look a little better last week. So I'll give them that. But, so out of all of it, you picked Florida State and I picked Notre Dame. I think those could be the biggest statement come Saturday night, Sunday morning. I think we picked 2 pretty good ones. So, yeah. All right. Another thing of news today that come out was the SEC has suspended 4 players from the Florida-Tennessee game for fighting at the end of it. And I kind of wanted to get your take on this. You're, SEC guy and, know a lot of people in the SEC circles and that kind of stuff. So Florida's going to be – they suspended them for the first half. They're not suspended the entire game. But Florida is down 2 offensive linemen and their tight end on that up front. Now, they're playing Charlotte this coming week. So they're not playing
There should be no really lapses against Charlotte.
And Tennessee is losing one of their defensive linemen for the UTSA game in the first half.
My biggest thing with this whole thing was the end of the game. Josh Heupel calls a timeout when I get was a couple seconds left. I'm not sure, 1 second, 3 seconds. I can't remember.
It wasn't much. Yeah,
it wasn't much. And then, the Florida player, Graham Mertz, went down to take a knee, and then the Tennessee guy just come over and just slapped him down, like knocked him over. And then the Florida guy started
pushing and shoving.
Eventually what you're going to do, one thing leads to another, and you're going to have the whole team on you. And that's eventually what happened. And even Josh Heupel, he apologized to Billy Napier at midfield about it. He said, I'm really sorry about what happened and whatnot. But there's no use in that in college football. That could have easily got somebody injured. Somebody could have got hurt out of that. There's just no – and it's not just one side. It was both sides. Both sides need to act a little better when it came to this. It's just –
Well, I mean, the game was over.
It was.
The game
And
was
it's a bitter
over.
rivalry.
I mean, it was
It's
over.
a bitter rivalry.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Florida hate each other. And
But it was
you knew
29-16. There was a few seconds left. The game was over. They were fixing to kneel. I mean, there's no sense in that.
there's just not. No. So
I mean, none of it, you know? I mean, there's no sense in that. The game was over. So, you know,
was.
tuck your tail. If you're Tennessee, I know you don't like losing. I know you don't. But if you're Tennessee, tuck your tail, go to the locker room. You know, sometimes it happens.
Sometimes you just lose and then come back the next week.
When the game is over, you know, show some class, show some respect. It's not like there was 8 minutes and 16 seconds left and you still had, you know, hope and thinking maybe you could, you know, come back in this game or something. I mean, the game was over.
What was really interesting about this game was, you know, Tennessee goes down and scores. They go up 7-0, and then they never scored again until what? Like, was it the second?
Oh, it was in the second half.
It was close to it was in the second half.
Yeah.
Florida's defense really stepped up. Their defense really played a big game Saturday night. And kudos to Florida.
Absolutely.
You know,
Florida's running backs just ran it down their throat, to be honest with you.
And as a Tennessee fan, you just say, you know what? We took our lumps. We got a beat down put on us. We come back the next week and we just try. I mean,
Mertz only had like 155 yards. You know, I mean, he wasn't like crazy.
You just, like you said, you tuck your tail, you get home, you try to work on the things in practice and get better for UTSA this week.
Because UTSA is no slouch of a team. I know they're a group of 5 and all that, but I mean, you know, they're a decent team, and they'll want to come to Neyland and knock them off if they can. I mean, I don't know that they can. I think Tennessee's going to handle it, but I mean, they're going to be up to do it, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. And you can't let one loss turn into 2.
Right. Exactly. You know, get your players suspended for games and stuff. I mean, it's just not, it's just not worth it. So our next topic that I'm going to talk about is the Colorado State and Colorado game last week. And this topic, at least, is not about what you think it's going to be on, actually. At least this topic is. So Saturday night, they were in the late 10 o'clock time slot on ESPN. And this game went in double overtime and actually didn't get over till like 2:30 in the morning on Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. And it was in that late of a time slot, okay? Mm-hmm. And this game got 9.3 million viewers. It is the most watched ever late night ESPN time slot game.
Guess you call that
last year, this time slot averaged 1.7 million viewers.
That's pretty remarkable.
And it got 9.3 million viewers to watch Colorado versus Colorado State. Yeah. I mean, if I would have said that last year, you guys would have thought I had lost my mind. Mm-hmm. So, exactly what you just said. You know, we can talk about the good and the bad that comes with Dion and all that he's bringing out there. There is good, there's bad. We can talk about all that if you want to. And we can debate it and we can talk here and back and forth and everything. But the truth is, it brings people wanting to see and watch. And also on top of this, Colorado actually, for the first time ever, and I believe it was today, announced that the rest of their home games are sold out for the season. It's the first time ever in both. So he's a moneymaker, man. I mean, he's making crap.
It's all about a brand. It's all about TV. And I tell people, I'm not the biggest Dion fan. I'll be honest with you. I just, to me, it's the arrogance and the cockiness that gets me. But you got to understand though, that's where Dion's been like that his whole life. Like ever since he was back at Florida State, when he played in the NFL, that's just Dion. And people are going to watch that stuff. That's just what it is. So at the end of the day, we can debate, the late we can debate that hit all day long. It was an ugly scene. And that wasn't even part of it. Shadur Sanders eye gouged a player. The Colorado State defender.
They were fighting before, and we'll get into it a little bit more here in a minute. But
yeah, it was just
that was
the game.
I mean, there's just a lot that goes into it. But the truth is, man, I mean, people are buying tickets. ESPN's making tons of money. Fox is making tons of money. The game before last, Fox had like 8.7 million viewers or 8.4 or something like that. It was 8 point something. So TV money is up. Colorado's money is up. People are interested. People are watching. The fans are showing up. There are things that is absolutely a positive. And I just wanted to bring that up. And also, like I said, they sold out their tickets as well for the rest of the season. And it's the first time ever. So, all right, let's go on to our pick six. All right, guys. We're going to go on to our pick six. See if I can get this to come up. See if I can get that to go off. Sometimes when I play that stuff, it wants to cut me out. So I never know. All right. So our first pick six of the night, I'll get it to come up here in a few minutes. Our first pick six of the night, we did the SEC and the Big 12 last week. So this week, I thought that we would do our pick six segment and we would do the ACE. We'll start with the ACC. So Power Six on the ACC. Who do you think is in the top six for the ACC conference so far through 3 weeks?
I guess you got to go with FSU as number one. Let's see. Then you got, I'm guessing you'll put North Carolina in there. North Carolina's the other one. Duke would be 3. And I'm going to go 4, Clemson. 5 is Miami. And I'm going to go a little different route. 6 to me is going to be Louisville. I think Louisville's in the top 6 this week. But they're going to have to play better than they did against Indiana if they're going to win some more games. I mean, they played good first half, but second half they kind of got complacent, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, and won them the Georgia Tech game. They could have lost that game. We beat Indiana 21-14. I'm not completely sold on them yet, but my power 6 for the ACC. Of course, you got to have Florida State, I think, at number 1. I think you have North Carolina and Duke 2 and 3. Probably Clemson at 4. So I think those are the same.
Somebody sent a message.
I guess
said your mic is kind of echo or staticky or something. It says. And we lost him. Give it a few minutes. He'll be back. But yeah, my power 6 is let's see here: Florida State, North Carolina, Duke, Clemson, Miami, and Louisville. And if you want to get technical, NC State's probably behind those. Syracuse is right there. Wake Forest is there. Pitt, I just don't think Pitt's a real good team this year. I don't think. Georgia Tech, they're rebuilding, and Virginia Tech and Boston College is rebuilding. So, to be honest, if we're being really the top 4 is Florida State, North Carolina, Duke, and Clemson, because the other teams are just you put those 4 together in a hat, and then the rest of them you just kind of throw them off to the side. So, but hopefully Brad's coming back. Here he is.
I'm back. All right, I'm just going to have to quit trying to run those videos because every time I do, that's what happens.
Yep.
All right, my bad, guys. I don't know. Every time I try to run a video, it kicks me out for some reason. And I'm not exactly sure why, but it is. So, anyways, my top 6, I said the same 4 you did, top 4. My 5 is going to be Miami, like you said, but my 6th team is going to be Syracuse.
I think was pretty close to that, but
I think Syracuse has played their way right now into being the 6th team in the ACC. If you look up what they've done on offense, at the beginning of the season here, they have played really well. They beat a Purdue team 35-20 last weekend, and I think right now that you have to give them the 6th spot. I really do. I think they deserve it. So I'll give my 6th spot to Syracuse right now for that. And then we're going to go on to our next Power 6 for our next Pick 6 segment here. And I'm going to ask you what your Power 6 teams are for the Pac-12. And there are 8 current ranked teams in the Pac-12. So, and all the buzz with Colorado and everything else that's going on with them. So, in the Pac-12, where would you have what teams would you have in your Power Six?
One is Washington. They was impressive this last week. You know, they made Michigan State look like a grade school team. You know, USC's number 2. Number 3 would be Utah, which they got a big test this week with UCLA, which they play UCLA, Oregon State, USC, and Oregon in 4 of the next 5 games. So we're going to find out just how good Utah is going forward here. 4 would be Oregon. Bo Nix, he's absolutely having one of the most fantastic seasons yet again. He's thrown for 893 yards, and he's not had an interception, and he's had 8 touchdowns. So Oregon's right there. 5 to me is Oregon State. DJ, I call him DJ 1, whatever.
DJU.
DJU. I think he's really rejuvenated that Oregon State team. And then the 6th team would be Washington State, in which we all know they play each other this weekend in a big Pac-12 tilt. And I know people's going to ask me, they're going to say, why do you not have Colorado in your top 6? And I'm going to tell you.
That's what you're going to hear. Yep, absolutely.
I'm going to tell you why. Because they haven't played nobody.
Well, people are going to say, well, they played TCU and they were ranked, but it was preseason ranked. But people are going to say that.
Beyond Shadur Sanders and Hunter and a few extra guys, this is a decent team, but it's not top 5. Does that make sense? The defense is not real good. When you have to take a team that a year ago lost to Sacramento State to double overtime, and you're a 20-something and a half point favorite, and you take them to double overtime, what's that show you?
I'm just saying, I'm being devil's advocate here because you probably know that I'm going to be pretty similar to that. So, I didn't have Colorado ranked. I'll be honest with you, preseason, I thought they would be improved, but I didn't think that they would win, 8 or 9 ball games. I didn't pick them anywhere near that.
I will say this. Shadur Sanders is a Heisman candidate at quarterback. He's a really good quarterback. He's probably one of the better quarterbacks in the country. But
I agree.
You got to show me. Now, if they beat Oregon, then they'll be in my top 6.
We're going to find out about Colorado and Dion and Shadur Sanders the next 2 weeks. Now,
but here's my issue with this: is they're going to be without Hunter.
They are
3 weeks? Travis
they
Hunter,
said
3
they
weeks.
said at least 3 weeks is what they said. Yeah,
without Travis Hunter, some of these games are going to be hard.
It is. Now that Hunter's gone, I mean, it's going to be another beast and another animal altogether. So, he's going to be out for a few weeks.
They do have Weaver. Weaver's a really big threat for them. But they got to have some other guys step up.
Yeah. Well, he hurts. I think he hurts probably more defensively than he does offensively. They have a weapon or two on offense that they can use. But
defensively, they need him a lot more than they need him offensively.
Yeah, I think he hurts them more on the defensive side of the ball because the Pac-12 is full of quarterbacks that can throw the ball around everywhere, full of it. So having a guy like Travis Hunter to be able to shut down one whole side of the field on defense is a huge deal. And him being out is going to be a huge deal. So my Power 6 teams in the Pac-12, and I know this is the big fuss show, but I'm going to be honest with you. My 6 teams are the exact same 6 teams that you got. Now, I might have a little different order. I have USC 1 right now, Washington 2. I think 3 and 4 are right. It's like 3A and 3B, and that's Utah and Oregon. And then 5 and 6 would be Oregon State and Washington State. And this Washington,
we neither one had UCLA in there, but UCLA
no, I don't have.
Has not.
I don't
really
have
impressed me
UC.
this year.
I don't have UCLA in there yet. They are ranked. They've come into the bottom of the top 25. They're like 24 or something like that. And Colorado, of course, is ranked too, and I think they're somewhere around 20, something like that. But there's 8 teams ranked, and we're picking 6, so 2 of them can't be in it. So
No.
My 2 that I left out are Colorado and UCLA, and the reason why I left those 2 out is I think that those 2 teams still have a little bit more to prove. If you ask me, Oregon State was a 10-win team last year. Washington State had a pretty good season, like 7 or 8 wins last year. And most people don't know Cameron Ward, but he is a stellar quarterback for Washington State.
They'll find out this Saturday. It's going to be on TV.
He's a great quarterback.
And the thing is, you don't get a lot of these Oregon State, Washington State games on Prime.
But this game's on TV, national TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
the Oregon State, Washington State game.
You don't get them very often.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to play.
Especially when they're ranked.
Yep. I'm not going to play the little video that I got because if I do, it'll probably cut me out. So I'm not going to play it. But let's go for the no-fly zone. We're going to tell if a question or a topic here should fly or not fly. And we're going to kind of dig into a few topics. This first one's going to be pretty simple, I think. So we won't stay too long on this first topic because it's just a topic that is relevant right now. So, 2 weeks ago, Alabama lost in a game to Texas. Last week, they had 3 points in the fourth quarter and wound up winning 17-3. Ty Simpson come in and did lead a couple of drives. And they beat South Florida 17-3. He didn't throw a touchdown, but he led a couple of drives and looked pretty decent. Was like 6-9, and led some drives, scoring drives.
Mm-hmm.
But Nick Saban come out, I think yesterday, I believe, and said that Jalen Milroe is going to be his starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. For this season. So, Hammonds, is that the right call?
It's fly. I think he gives Alabama the best opportunity to win, especially win football games down in the future. You saw what he did against Middle Tennessee. You saw what he did, even against Texas. There were some plays that if Alabama doesn't make, Alabama probably gets blowed out, and he made some plays in that game. A lot of that wasn't on Milroe. A lot of that was on the defense. Then they had one. I think they had an interception, but the defense hurt them in the Texas game. But the one pass that Milroe did have that was picked off put Texas right in Alabama territory, and even in a loss, I think he was pretty much the best option out there. And that's what they need. They need and you hope that he develops.
I'm gonna give you my breakdown on things. And I watched some of the Texas game. I watched some of the UCF game. USC, not UCF, F game. I'm sorry, I can't talk. South Florida, dadgummit. Anyways, I watched some of both games, and I'm going to tell you what I see. So I don't think Alabama's offensive line is very good. Like, I really don't. They're big, but I'm not so sure that they're not big and slow. I mean, honestly, I'm not so sure. Like, they're getting blown by. I don't think their offensive line is very good. No.
And another thing, too, with Alabama,
having said that, go ahead. You're interrupting me.
No, what I was saying was, used to, you could just step on the field and know that Alabama was going to dominate you. This team don't have that feel.
No, absolutely not. So my take is this on the two quarterbacks. With the offensive line kind of looking like they might be running for their lives, I think Jalen Milroe is the correct answer because he has the legs to escape and to buy some time. He does look down the field sometimes, and he can run. All right. Ty Simpson, if you ask me, if that offensive line was playing better and could hold the pocket, I actually think Ty Simpson's the best pocket passer that they have. Ty Simpson can drop back 3 and 5 step drops and can, the best pocket passer that they have. And that's just my opinion on it. The only reason why I'm going to say I think Jalen Milroe is the right choice, it's because of the offensive line.
Yeah, it's not real good right now. And even the defensive line, the front four is not as good as it has been in the past.
But I'm not so sure that offensive line's not the main cog in why Alabama has looked the way that they have so far. I know, Texas, the defensive line ate them up. USF the other day, they had a couple of guys, just blowing by them. So, the offensive line just does not look good. For that reason, I'm saying that Milroe is the right choice. The next topic I'm going to go to is Henry Blackburn. Now, who is that, you say? Who is Henry Blackburn? Does anybody know who that is, by the way? Okay. In case you don't know who Henry Blackburn is, he is the Colorado State defensive back who delivered the hit on Travis Hunter the other night that everybody has gone nuts over, okay? And I just want to say this. So before the game was even over, because it went into overtime, people were leaking and posting his and his mother's phone number on social media.
And their address. His and his mother, people. His mother. All right? Yeah, it's gotten a little too.
And they are getting death threats, including his mother. All right? I'm here to tell you guys, what the F are y'all doing? What the hell's going on with these people, with people in this world today?
It's crazy.
I don't understand it, man. I really don't. This is a game of football. He delivered a hit in a game of football. As far as I know,
in the heat of the moment.
As far as I know, Travis Hunter wasn't walking the streets in Boulder, and this guy just come out of nowhere and bowled him, and blew him up across, on the street somewhere. It was in the game of football, and on top of that, he wasn't head hunting. He didn't go head high. He hit him in the chest, which is where you teach kids to hit nowadays. and he used his shoulder. Was it a late hit? Sure, it was a late hit. Did it deserve a flag? Yes, it deserved a flag. Does any of this other crap deserve to be happening? Absolutely, 1,000%. Hell no.
And I'm going to say this on top of this. They even had a post about, I don't know who it was. I can't remember. I posted about it. They wanted to pull his scholarship.
Henry Blackburn. That's the kid's name.
They wanted to pull his scholarship because he hit Travis Hunter. Wanted to pull his scholarship because he
in a game where they were fighting an hour before the kickoff. When the two teams were mouthing and fighting and had to be pulled off of each other an hour before the kickoff. Okay? I mean, get a grip, people. Get a grip.
The internet in the prime mania has went. I'm not saying it's all prime. That's not what I'm saying. But the media, a lot of the media caused a lot of this because they kept egging it on, and it just kept. It's like an old. My granny used to say it's like an old sore. You keep picking at it, it's eventually going to bust, and that's what happened.
I mean, look 10 years ago at some of the hits that was happening in college football, and then take a look.
You know what they would have had back when Ronnie Lott played? They would have had him.
I'm talking just 10 years ago. Go look 10 years ago what hits look like in college football, and then take a look at that hit that happened the other night and tell me that you can't see a difference, okay? On top of that, I do want to say this before I go off of this topic. Deion Sanders did have a conference today, and he made a great statement. He told the fans that should never happen, that Henry Blackburn should not be getting death threats, and it shouldn't be going to his family, and that he's just a kid. He was playing the game of football, and whether it was right or wrong, he hit. He said nobody at Colorado is mad at him. That Travis Hunter's not mad at him. So. I thought the statement that Deion made today was a great statement, and I was glad to see it.
And two, what gets me is, back even when Ronnie Lott and all these guys was playing, they would have had them before a firing squad. If Ronnie Lott was playing,
he would have been under the jail somewhere.
had him put him under state penitentiary somewhere. Come on, people.
It's ridiculous. Get a grip, man.
What it is.
I'm going to tell you another thing, and I'm going to give you another example real quick before I get off of this. This is absolutely a fly, by the way. Under no circumstances, it's not a fly. This is absolutely a fly. But what kills me is this. If you're watching a damn baseball game, fans don't even bat an eye if a pitcher throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball at somebody's rib cage. They don't even bat an eye. Don't care nothing about it. They can come off the mound, throw a 102-mile-an-hour pitch at some rib cage or head, and fans don't say a damn word about that. But this kid can deliver a hit in a football game to the chest maybe 1 second after the football goes over his head, and people lose their mind. Get a grip.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Get a grip.
Get a grip.
100%. I'm not even playing. All right. My next subject is this, and I want to ask you this question. So Lane Kiffin on Sunday, actually, made a statement that he didn't think Kevin Steele was running the defense and making the defensive play calls against South Florida on Saturday, that he thought Robinson was running the play calls on Saturday. And now Saban's come out and said, I don't know where he gets this and blah, blah, blah. Kiffin's come back and said, hey, look, I know all of them. I know what defense they kind of calls they do. And I'm sorry, but I still think that Kevin Steele wasn't running the defense on Saturday.
I think
there was a change made.
I think Kevin Steele was, especially by what Saban was kind of going at in his press conference, because he said, he basically just said it word for word that Kevin Steele was basically the defensive coordinator and he was doing what he needed to do. The thing about Kiffin, you got to understand, Kiffin is a troll.
They play each other, so there's some back and forth. So
the night before, I think it was the day after, he had retweeted Alabama beating South Florida 17-3. Like he does little stuff like that to get people.
Kiffin's hilarious on Twitter, y'all. If y'all ain't following Kiffin on Twitter, like some of the stuff that he does is I mean, he makes statement and says stuff that other coaches don't do. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's him. He's the head football coach and he's the one that's tweeting. These other people, half of them don't even run their Twitter. They're not on there.
A lot of them.
You know what I mean? But Lane Kiffin is hilarious on there, by the way. So if you're not following him, you might want to follow Juice Kiffin too. I'll give you,
just so you know, the dog.
I'll give you a little tidbit. You might want to follow him too. You might find out who that is, but if you don't know. But anyway, so back to this. Did Saban make a switch?
Nah, I don't think
and just
so.
Not telling nobody?
Mm-mm. I don't believe that.
You think it's just gamemanship back and forth between Saban?
Yeah, I think it's just a bunch of talk.
I think it's kind of funny myself. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go with that there might be something to it. So I'm going to go fly and go that there might be something to this, and Kiffin might be on to something. I mean, maybe Kevin Steele is a defensive coordinator in name only. I don't know. That's all I know. I have no idea. But I think it's kind of fun to keep up with. I can't wait to get back on tonight and see if Kiffin said something else. All right. My last no-fly zone topic is this. Dylan Gabriel, Oklahoma Sooners quarterback. Has he entered the Heisman race?
I think there's a possibility, but there's so many other guys that are in front of him, I think. But he's putting up a lot of good numbers, though. I mean, we really
has he quietly? I mean, people. I don't even think people realize. I don't even think half the country would even know who Dylan Gabriel is if you said his name.
He's the former UCF quarterback that came to Oklahoma,
and this is his second year at Oklahoma.
I think it's possible. I think we really ain't going to know much about Oklahoma. I mean, I know they play Cincinnati Saturday, but Cincinnati just got beat by Mineville High, so we need to pump the brakes on Cincinnati a little bit now.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they'll take care of business at Cincinnati, but I really don't think
Oklahoma is killing people.
Killing them. I don't think we're really going to know.
Score and killing people.
I don't think we're really going to know.
I'm talking like 70 points, 66 points. I mean, they're putting up like crazy numbers.
I don't think we're really going to know much about Oklahoma until they play Texas.
I'm just saying, look at this kid's numbers and look what Oklahoma is doing and you know, I'm not
It's
so
impressive.
sure. I'm not so sure that he's not 7th in the Heisman race right now. I'm not so sure.
Six would probably have to go to Shadur Sanders. To me. But Dylan Gabriel's not far behind.
He's not, y'all. I'm telling you. I think he has at least entered the Heisman race. I think this is a fly. Absolutely.
But in order to get, I think they got to at least get to the Big 12 championship and be talked about with the playoffs before they get an opportunity. He has that chance to be in the mix, I think.
I mean, my guys right now would be Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams, Quinn Ewers, and Sam Hartman would be my top 4.
Mine is Caleb Williams. I think he wins at the end. He's generational. He's one of the best quarterbacks.
No, man. Michael Penix is putting up some numbers, man. Like he's balling out.
Yeah, look who he's playing though.
Michael Penix he beat Fresno State or Boise State, I mean, at the beginning.
Well, and USC ain't really played anybody either, so
nope.
We don't really know until we're going to find out a lot this weekend.
My leader right now would be Michael Penix Jr., but my top 4 are the 4 that I just named. And then I would probably have, like I said, I think that Dylan Gabriel right now, if I had to look at everything, I think Dylan Gabriel would be 7 on my list.
I know where you're getting ready to go on this next little rant.
I don't know what you're talking about. What rant?
I know the bonus. I know what you're getting ready to go on.
What rant? I'm not even. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep, we know.
I've already had one rant or two.
Yeah, well, this one's kind of it's very questionable.
All right, you want me to get to it? Here we go.
Yeah, let's get to it.
I call this the final buzzer. So this is the last topic of the show. It is called the final buzzer. And my topic on this, guys, is this. The SEC announced that the Florida-Kentucky game is a noon, 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff not this Sunday or this Saturday, but next Saturday, September the 30th. Okay. I have a huge, huge problem with that. So Kentucky and Florida has not had a noon kickoff game since 2003.
You remember when that game was? Jared Lorenzen was the quarterback, and Kentucky was up 21-3 against a Ron Zook, Chris Leak.
Was that Chris Leak game?
That was the game where Jared Lorenzen threw a pick at the end of the game, and they returned it for a touchdown. Or no, it come to the 1-yard line, and they come back and beat us.
So many times. But anyway, that is not what my rant is about. My rant is
I'm just saying that was the game that Derek Abney had a punt return for a touchdown that would have put Kentucky up 28-10 or 28-3. And we had 12 men on the field, and it cost us the game. So that's all I'll say on that game. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, the last time Kentucky and Florida was a early noon, 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff was 2003. Since that time, 17 of 19 games has either been a 6 to 7 Central Time slot. 17 of 19 games. There's only been 2 Florida-Kentucky games in the last 20 years, basically, that was even at the 2:30 or 3 o'clock time slot, Central Time. And there has been 0 in the noon kickoff slot. SEC, everybody's been saying this week about things, and I've noticed it. SEC, I think you're drunk. I mean, seriously, what the hell's going on? I don't understand it. I don't know how in the world you could have the Florida-Kentucky game not be one of these 6, 6:30, 7, I'm talking Central Time zones here, time slots.
Do you even know who the 4 o'clock game is?
I mean, you got Missouri Vandy in there, I think, is one of them.
The Missouri Vandy game's at 4.
I mean, what?
But
I don't
the 4 o'clock game usually battles the 3:30 slot, and it's not really a key prime slot. You know what I mean? So,
but it's better than an 11 a.m. noon kickoff. I mean,
well, at least you'll get up at
you were talking about the Florida State Clemson game this week, and you were talking about that. But that game, at least they have it on a different time slot with some of these other big games, and they're not all the same time slot. The SEC has got games that shouldn't be where they are, and I hate to tell you, but I'm serious as a heart attack. SEC, I think you're drunk. And that's all I'm going to say. Like, it's ridiculous. All right, guys, that's our show tonight. You can join us on Thursday night. We will be doing our game day pick'ems, and we have a lot of good games to pick from this week. There is 6 ranked versus ranked games, and then a 7th game of Florida and Clemson State that's not ranked. Clemson's not. And then there are 2 or 3 other games that are really, really good. You got LSU and Arkansas, and there's a lot of really good games to talk about this week. So we're excited to bring you on Thursday night.
If we're being, the SEC schedule this week is this, to be honest. Auburn, A&M. Auburn goes to Texas A&M. Ole Miss goes to Alabama.
That's a good one.
UTSA goes to Tennessee. Arkansas goes to LSU. That's the prime time slot. You got Memphis going to Missouri. That's a 7:30 game. You got Mississippi State going to South Carolina. That's a 7:30 game. And then you got Kentucky and Vanderbilt at the noon kickoff, which that's always –
I didn't get mad over that one, but the Florida Kentucky
that's always been a good, decent game. The biggest thing in that one, I'll just say this, and we'll let it go to Thursday, but Kentucky's a 14-point favorite.
They should.
I know
think
they should, but to me, that's a little high, though, considering the way Kentucky has played as of recent. That's just me, but we'll talk about that Thursday.
We'll talk about all this more on Thursday night, guys.
Yes, sir.
Catch our college game day pick'em show, and we will see you guys on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Time. And we appreciate you guys being with us. John?